In this video, we'll go through the rules of naming thiols. So thiols are organic molecules that contain the sulfhydryl or that sulfur hydrogen functional group. And so when we go through the rules of naming these molecules, again, similar to what you would see with naming organic compounds or even other molecules that contain functional groups. We have to identify our parent chain, but as with other molecules that contain functional groups, we have to make sure that the carbon where the functional group is located is included. We have to identify any substituents. We have to indicate where everything is located and then put the name together. So in this one we have our parent chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the main thing is that we have to make sure that that carbon where that sulfhydryl group is attached, that carbon is included in our parent chain. So those 5 carbon atoms that we have does include that carbon. And so we will call that pentane. One thing that I recommend when naming thiols, name it as if you didn't really have that thiol group there. Because the rules of naming thiols are almost identical to naming alkanes, but then you add thiol to the end and indicate where it's located. So if we were only naming an alkane, so if we didn't have this, we would just have pentane. So we will be finished. But now we have to indicate that we also have this thiol group present. So before you were seeing where we had to drop the E and add whatever to indicate the ending, now we're just adding the word thiol. So adding the word thiol accounts for the thiol group. But we're not finished yet. We have to indicate where the thiol is located. So again, we can number that chain in both directions. We can number it from left to right, which will place that thiol on carbon 3. We can number it from right to left, which again will place that thiol on carbon 3. So once we know where the thiol is located, we simply indicate that location in front of the parent name. So for this molecule, we simply have 3-pentane thiol. Now I know some people like to go on YouTube and they like to Google different things. In addition to seeing it as 3-pentane thiol, so that is the IUPAC name, you may also see thiols named with the number separating the parent name based on the number of carbon atoms and the word thiol. So in addition to it being seen as 3-pentane thiol, you may also see it written as pentane 3-thiol. They are technically the same thing, but the 3-pentane thiol is the IUPAC name for this molecule. So let's look at another one, just to make sure that you're good with it. So again, we have a thiol, and we know that because we have that sulfur hydrogen group. So because of that, I know that my parent chain has to include that carbon atom. So if I figure out my longest continuous chain of carbon that includes that particular carbon, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for this one, because I always go straight across, I don't want you to think that parent chains are always drawn from left to right, so I'm going to go down that way. And so now I have those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carbon atoms. And so we have octane. So that accounts for those 8 carbon with their hydrogen. From there, I can look at what's sticking outside of this boxed area. I have this sticking outside of it, and I also have my functional group sticking outside. So I need to make sure I take care of both of those. So here I have my one substituent, which has 1 carbon. So again, we have a methyl group. Here I have my functional group. By adding the word thiol, that takes care of that functional group. But now I need to indicate where everything is located. So again, I can number in both directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or I could have started at the opposite end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because I have a functional group, that functional group takes priority. So what that means is that you want to make sure that you give that functional group the lowest number possible. Even if it causes your substituent to have a higher number, your functional group gets the lowest number. Excuse me. So counting left to right, I have my functional group on carbon 5 and my methyl group on carbon 7. Right to left, excuse me, right to left does place that methyl group on carbon 2, but then it places my my functional group on carbon 5. So you want to go with the lowest number possible, which would be from left to right. So that means that my thiol functional group is on carbon 4, and my methyl group would be on carbon 7. So from there, you want to put everything together. You want your substituent first, and make sure you indicate where it's located, followed by the parent name, and make sure you indicate where your functional group is located. So this molecule would be 7-methyl, because again we have to separate letters from numbers using a dash. 7-methyl-4-octane thiol. And that is the IUPAC name for this compound.